let's say that, we have Ontario or Nova Scotia, or we have some people very interested in investing in Alberta. What type of pricing could landlords look at for their property management fees? And do you have like landlord licensing in Alberta?
Someone want to come invest in Alberta, and they work with someone like Chris or me, and we were the boots on the ground. We went in partners. They just want to be a money partner, and they want real estate, but they don't want to do the hands-on stuff like the toilets and all that. You can come in with
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. My name is Kayla Andrade. I'm going to be your co-host this evening. I'm also the founder of Ontario Landlords Watch. I have tonight with me MacKenzie Wilson once again, but I also have his right hand, Chris Noble, and they are from the Alberta Landlord Community.
Stoked to be here.
Thanks, Kayla. It's great to be here.
Now, if you guys are, with landlords and doing what you guys do, and let's say that, we have Ontario or Nova Scotia, or we have some people very interested in investing in Alberta, what type of pricing could landlords look at for their property management fees? And do you have like landlord licensing in Alberta?
Okay, two-part question. Chris and I should both answer because we're in very different markets. I'm in Calgary, large city. Chris is in small town, 2,000 to 5,000 population of Alberta. So let's talk about what rentals look like, and then we'll talk about the landlord licensing. I've never heard of that term, so for an interesting question.
You don't want to know about it.
Why don't you talk right now? I know you were working today on your rental, putting in light fixtures, painting. You're flipping over a rental as we speak. So if someone was coming to Alberta, what would that look like for you to invest in Ponoka?
Well, right now, let's talk about my duplex that I have. It's a side-by-side, and it's got 3 bedrooms. This is an interesting place. It's got 3 bedrooms in the basement with a bathroom, and then the living room and kitchen area upstairs. And there were multiple of these units built in town by one individual over many years ago. And I picked that place up for $270. And
when? How many years ago?
5 years ago, when the market was high. It's actually dropped now with the market. That's when the market was up, and now it's down. So I'm not sure what the pricing is on it now, but I've had it for quite a while. And I rent each side out for $1,100. Now I've just gone in and there is only one title to this place as well, the way these things were built back then. So you can split it, but I have no need to right now. So we're picking up $2,200 a month off of those, and they pay the utilities. So that's not it's not too bad. So that's 900, just about 1,000 square feet livable space in both, and it's quite comfortable for the one child family, 2 parents, or the single mom with a couple of children. They're nice places, and I just went in and updated the one side because there wasn't a renter in. And I showed actually MacKenzie today. We did a FaceTime and showed him what I was up to. And I talk about sweat equity on our page and how that benefits you as a landlord, and you should learn how to do some of this stuff. But that's my market.
Called a burr.
Called a what?
A burr. I see it all the time.
Buy, renovation, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat.
Yeah. But I think the short of it is, if you're in Ontario, given some of the price of your houses down there and what you can sell them for, and you want to come out this way and you want to invest, you're going to do really well.
Now, how much would I pay for a property manager to manage that property, though?
Well, it depends on anywhere from 8 to 10% of the rent monthly. So, but come into our smaller communities where I am, there's a little different way of doing things than in the bigger centers. Like I do help landlords with property. I don't manage the property for them. There's a little different way that we have to do it with some of the regulations. I can't handle the cash, and I can't handle the contract because I'm not licensed to do that. However, what I can do is I can advertise for them. I can screen tenants for them with the systems we have in place with our partners, with the Landlord Credit Bureau, with single key. and then just picking up the phone and using some good old common sense and asking the right questions. Screen some tenants out, and away we, find somebody to put in place, give the owners the information, we make a decision together, and from there, they can do everything online, have a, contract signed online if they're not from here, and then they have all the money go direct deposit to them. And then I don't charge a monthly fee. I do it a la carte, so to speak. If something going sideways and they want me to go do an inspection, well, I'll charge to do an inspection, or I'll charge to go fix something, or charge to arrange to get a proper contractor in there to fix it. So if a rent is normally $1,500 a month and a property manager charges $150 a month to do it, times 12, whatever the math is on that, that's a lot of money. My way saves the owners quite a bit of money, and they actually prefer.
Wow. And the property managers are licensed by whom?
And MacKenzie, you want to jump in there with that stuff?
Yeah, well, and
so you don't have landlord licensing, you have property management licensing.
Yeah,
that's right.
A landlord license doesn't even exist. So if you own a property, you can legally rent it out. You're a landlord. There's no licensing involved. I'll just segue back to add on to Chris's question about what would it be like to invest in Alberta from a big city perspective. So in Calgary, because we are on a YouTube investing channel, even though we all talk about landlords like the ugly child in the room, but that's cool. So yeah, I've got, let's talk to, I'll talk to a similar product that Chris just talked about. I've got a duplex. It's an up and down rental. Upstairs is three beds, 2 baths, and then I've got a 2-bedroom, 1 bath downstairs. It's in Bowness here in Calgary, close to COP. It's a great rental area, good access to downtown, good access to the mountains. It's got some really good appeal to it. So right now I was just looking at duplexes within the last couple of weeks, and I saw one selling both sides of the property for $640. So that'd be $320 a side. And right now, and I'll quickly segue, in Calgary, because this is a secondary suite at the municipal level, you can legalize them if you meet certain criteria, and will save you a bunch of money because there's less. You can be grandfathered and legalized to a lesser standard than once this grace period ends, which will cost you more money to legalize. So great opportunity there. My rents right now are $1,366 upstairs. And then I'm at almost $1,200 downstairs or something. I'd have to go back and look, but let's call that. I'm including utilities in mine. So if I have a single metered property, a pro tip, you want to keep the utilities in your name, and then I have a separate lease or contract that manages my utilities. So therefore, if they dick around and all of a sudden I get a January utility bill that they've been using the oven to heat the house with, I give them a 30-day notice and I raise the utilities accordingly based on what they're doing. So I do that separately. But yeah, that's with utilities in mind. My utilities right now average throughout the year, if I remember correctly, are in that $350 to $375 range for that property. It is a 1970, so it's a little bit older than the best insulation. But yeah, and you can get in right now and you buy both sides, so we'll get 4 units, 3 bedrooms on the top, 2 on the bottom for about $640, and yeah, it's great numbers right now, and that's my best performing property. But I even have a bungalow, so that's a late 1950s house. It's 1,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms up, 2 bedrooms down again, 1 bath each on that property, and it cash flows just nicely as well. So, and that one's probably, the folks upstairs are paying $550, $570 in there, and then the renters downstairs are paying $1,270 because they just got a pet, so we had pet fees on that. So
you guys don't want to know about her. No wonder they got us capped in Ontario.
so I mean, to give food for thought, if someone want to come invest in Alberta and they work to someone like Chris or me, and we were the boots on the ground, we went partners, they just want to be a money partner and just they want real estate, but they don't want to do the hands-on stuff like the toilets and all that. You can come in with 80,000. You could easily invest where Chris is, or less than that. And I would say with like just doing it right with the reserve fund and all that money is up front, 100,000 we'll get it done.
So now that when you talk about the type of property, because I know our landlords are paying like well over, around 800,000 for a duplex, and they're converting it into a duplex, mind you, at that. So it's like, I bought the property at this dollar amount, but I still got to do the work and the renovations. They were typically in the KWC area, Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo. Top half is going for like $2,300. The downstairs is going for $2,000, and potentially a rental, a utility cap included within there, because it's all inclusive, but with a cap that you get to see. So now that you guys are like, obviously the number of the property seems to work with what the rent is, and then having, a property manager, which could range from between 8 to 10% in Alberta, and they are what you mentioned that they're licensed. How does and knowing that you have someone that you want to, do a la carte type of ways of investing with them, or property managing, but in order for you to be part owner living there, is that okay being a part owner to manage that property, or do you have to be licensed as a part owner, more of like a joint venture?
Okay, so I'll just unpack that. So we're going back to the licensing, right? So Chris, that's RECA, right? Real Estate Council of Alberta. They license both realtors in Alberta, and they also license property managers.
Wow.
By their definition, you're a property manager if you collect monies on behalf of an owner for rents, and you handle that. There's a bunch of legislation, that money's got to be in trust with the certain accounts, and a bunch of good, and for good reason, paperwork around how that needs to be set up. And then there's also, they do state that the lease signing and some of these other things need to be done by a licensed property manager. However, if you're a private landlord and you own the property outright, you're exempted from this. You can rent out your own property as you have that right. If you're doing it as a joint venture, your joint venture partner, who's going to be the active partner doing the real estate investing, aka the landlording, needs to have a financial stake in the property. We need to confirm this off air. I know we're talking about it's either 20 or 25% on this, Chris, if you recall correctly, because I know one of our admins was telling us about this.
Wow, that is crazy.
I thought Guidry said they had to have a 25. It's not 2025. It's,
yeah.
We'll put it in the comments once everyone can see, so that we can verify to know, because that's crazy.
Yeah, but like what Chris has talked about, a lot of us do is I run my house. I'm responsible for it, but perhaps I don't want to do the views. Perhaps I don't want to take the phone calls, the bookings, all that stuff. I can outsource that, just like contracting a service. Yeah. Bring in Chris. He's in Panoka. Chris will do my viewings for me. He'll help me select the tenants. He'll maybe do a little due diligence for me, and then he might say, hey, Chris, you should, or MacKenzie, you should pick this fellow. He's really good. Or this couple with this young baby. I think they're the best pick. And that's kind of the way to work with it. That kind of
so it's a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt. It really would defer for, people who are trying to invest into Alberta, who are outside of the province, and maybe that was their goal with, making sure the property managers are licensed, or also to make sure that we have good property managers. Because obviously landlords, when you look for good tenants, you also need to do your due diligence and do this type of screening questions for your property manager as well, because obviously not everyone is cut out to be a property manager, just like not everyone's cut out to be a landlord.
Or be a tenant. Well, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of the horror story side of it here, there was a gentleman in the community who claimed to be a property manager and was acting as a property manager, and allowed a landlord who was out of province to, every month he'd collect this $100 fee, but the tenant would only pay, of the $1,000 rent, would only pay $400, $500, maybe $600, but still would collect his fee. And then I got asked to get involved because of our page, and because of a realtor in town. She knew me. She says, can you help out my client? Here's what's going on. And I look at this and I go, oh my God, how do you go 6 months in arrears? And after you added it all up, it was like $3,000 or $4,000. How does that happen? And then I look and so I didn't really say a lot to the guy because I needed his information, and he provided me an accounting of what he did. And it showed right in there. Every month he took his $100. He's not licensed to do what he did. And I told the owner that she should sue him for her losses because he did not act in the right capacity for herself. I just stepped in as an eviction expert because there was a lot more to the story than just the fact that he wasn't collecting money. There was criminal activities. There was a number of things going on, but the guy didn't have the fortitude to deal with it. But yet he claimed to be a property manager. So like MacKenzie says, you got to do your due diligence and search out these people. And, you know, the best way to do it is go to a realtor in a community, and especially if it's a small community, ask around. There's some realtors here that do manage properties, and they do a great job of it. And then there's some will say, well, I don't want to pay that 10%, and some will say, well, try this person. This is how he does it, and that's how I do it. Is I don't charge monthly. I just charge for a particular portion of the work, and then make sure that the money's being handled and the contracts are being handled by the owners, and everything can be done electronically. And you know what? In the end, the owners make more money and save money because of the way I do it.
So they continue to keep investing and keep bringing that supply. And like we talked about in the beginning of this, and in this video is about, you know, small landlords are, you know, major contributors into creating that supply. And of course, we want the elected officials, no matter what province you're in, to listen to the stakeholders and know their struggles and know what could make it easier for them to continue to be investors and to save money whenever they can in order for them to continue to keep investing or passing those savings on to the tenants.
One thing I want to just add into, just like PMing costs, like property management costs, I would say you should at least budget 10%. And truthfully, when you get into the details, if there's lease up fees, inspection fees, there's one-off costs that is associated with that, that will typically add another 2 or 3% on top of that. So folks, if you're building out your budgets for investing and you want to be conservative, just that would be my suggestion for those numbers.
Now, before we end this video, I want to know, what would you recommend? Your number one, if you had one ask and you had the elected officials in Alberta right in front of you right now and said that I want you to give me one recommendation from your landlord community of what you want to see changed with respects either to the RTA or to the RTDRS system.
And we should say the RTDRS is a Residential Tenancy Dispute Resolution Service.
How about you ask to change the name? That would be my recommendation for Alberta, is change the name.
Yeah.
Well, you already gave us 2 wishes and that used up one of them, so I'm going to let you use it.
Oh, nice one, Chris. Okay, so
Sorry, underneath the bus there. Last call, man.
My one wish or ask or takeaway is updating our legislation to newer communication requirements, right? We're in a very connected day and age where we can talk to someone more than a dozen different ways, right? So it'd be good if we could leverage, say, email, say a communicator platform, whether it be WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Signal, whatever the new communication platform, as long as there is a good paper standard to how to document it, that we should be able to communicate differently with our tenants and have that.
I wish that was my only ask. Stop whining, MacKenzie.
I'm just, wishful thinking.
I'm ready to sell in Ontario and move to Alberta. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, we have a good hockey team.
Anything that you want to see changed?
Oh, there's sort of a 2-part. So yeah, I'll go with it. First one is this. It says we have our social sources of income. So whether it be a social service portion, or we have a program called AISH, Alberta Assured Income for Severely Handicapped. Now, some of these funds that come out are used, they are used as their income to pay rent. The problem is that when these tenants go sideways and they either wreck a place or don't pay rent or whatever, there's very minimal opportunity for you to go after them. You can garnishee a bank account. Well, there's limitations on garnishees because you can only collect, there's the basic allotment, and then anything over and above that in a garnishee that you can get your hands on. But when someone in one of these programs goes sideways and they're not using their money to pay the rent where it was intended, much like the CERB and all that, the emergency funds, that money didn't go towards paying it. Those people should be able to be held accountable, and there should be deductions off of that immediately, which makes them accountable for their money. If you mess this place up and he goes after you, you're going to have to pay. and that if that judgment's out there, that judgment's in place, it should be an automatic system set up for that.
Yeah,
So that's one.
Same thing in Ontario. Like we have like the funds can be directed to the landlord, but the tenants can indeed reverse the deposit and reverse it back to them. And obviously there's no communication between the landlord and the worker to inform them that, hey, you're giving shelter costs, but the shelter cost is not going to the landlords. And obviously we're going to be losing this tenancy, and it's going to it's going to be a downhill spiral for the tenants who obviously are needing accommodations and affordable accommodations. And we want to set them on a good pace. But again, certain type of government programs that help tenants in Ontario for rent relief or relief from utilities, only the tenants can apply for it. But I think there should be an open concept where Ontario landlords should be able to apply on the tenant's behalf, like you have a signature in order to kind of work that. And if you can't garnish their wages, just because obviously their wages are unable to be garnished, allow us to be able, at least the landlords now have that alternative tool where they can report the tenant's monthly payment history to Landlord Credit Bureau and Equifax through Front Lobby in order to hold the tenants accountable, so that it does travel with them to their other rental units, or if they ever need credit elsewhere, it's also going to follow them, because people need to be knowing that there's something within their actions. There's repercussions to what they do, and sometimes when you just enable people, it's just going to continue to get worse. But I do understand that we have multiple different ways, and I think we're going to be able to get you guys back on, because I want you to be the Alberta community voice, so that people who are having questions about their tenants in Alberta, or how to navigate and getting connected to the bailiff and getting connected to the eviction experts that you have, or trying to find a property manager, or also just someone who is able to help out and not be that official capacity of a property manager. And now if anyone is wanting to find you guys, what is the best way to find both of you?
Well, Kayla, you did say 2 wishes, and I had my second wish. And I know you want to sign off, but I know I'm going to touch on every single landlord out there on this one. The other one, I got to say this, and I know you all want to do this. That tenant that comes in and gives you that great story and everything's going good, and you have all the pictures, you've done your due diligence, and you've inspected the place, and they leave, there's holes in the wall, there's doors ripped off, and there's washing machines missing, and dishwashers missing, and windows broken. There should be some accountability under the criminal code for that, because and see, I knew, see, look at you, and there has to be accountability for that, because I can show you how the place was when you came in, and here it is on they went out. So you know what? They had control over that property. I don't care who did the damage. Then they have to step up and say, I saw this person do this damage. Yeah. Fine, we'll go after that person. But if they aren't going to, they should be criminally liable for that. And that's my other wish to the
It's true, and that can have a lot of insurity, a lot of support, a lot of protection towards our landlords, knowing that the tenants can be criminally charged for the vandalism that is happening, because just because their name is a tenant, they do not get charged with vandalism or mischief because of the title tenant in that business relationship. But if I came to your house, Chris, and I smashed in your door, or I punched a hole in your wall, you're definitely working on that concept where you can have me criminally charged. And that's the difference that we need to show our elected officials, that we need to be working with creating a fair and balanced system that protects both parties.
Don't forget the old Ralph Klein quote there, shoot, shovel, and shut up. Just remember, if you're coming to Alberta, my dear, that's causing trouble.
Hashtag that, my friend. Hashtag that.
Right there.
What a way to end it.
You see MacKenzie's rubbing his face. He says, "Oh my God, did he really just say that?"
We're real landlords helping real people.
I want one more wish, because Chris got 2. I want 2. So my other wish here, since we're stacking these in and we're making these pie in the sky claims that hopefully one day might become reality. One of our members is a very experienced landlord. I won't claim as if I had this idea, but he had this idea, a gentleman by the name Doug Williams. But we're able to win judgments. The challenge is, I have this judgment, now how do I collect the actual money? And that's the challenge. So I went and found his information. He made a post. He's actually lobbing his MLA on this, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Demand to see the financial statements of the payer, so we can see if they're financially able to do it, because all that stuff's confidential. Transfer the money from the payer's salary or bank accounts. cancel any federal money owing, such as tax returns, GST rebates, Social Security, and employment insurance payments if they've damaged the property yet if they are found guilty with a judgment. And register a lien on a motor vehicle so that the payer cannot renew their license until they obtain a driver's abstract. Suspend the driver's license for extreme damages. Allow the court to order jail time, which, Chris, you just nailed that one in the head. So give her, you know, if we find tenants are legally liable for the damages, why can we not make them pay with better processes, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Send me that link, what you just read off there, because I really want to start incorporating that into our recommendations as we continue to advocate for that system that is desperately needed to protect that housing supply that we have. Now, I want to make sure that we continue to keep having you back as that voice. And in the meantime, I really want to make sure the viewers are able to reach out to you and get more and pick your brains and meet the other members of your community, because you guys are so active, and I love the love and the attention that you give all your members and your members give to each other. So how can they find the Alberta Landlord Community or reach out to you guys personally?
We're in 3 spots, Chris. We're on Facebook. If you search for groups and look for Alberta Landlord Community, that's our Facebook following. We're pretty large. There are about 3,500 folks. We're also on YouTube as well, like you guys. So thank you again for allowing us to be on your channel. We appreciate to collaborate with you guys. I think this is super cool. You go to findgreattenants.com, tenants with an S. That'll kick you over to our YouTube channel, and then we also have our own private network community that we're building right now too. As much as we love Facebook, that's allowed us to connect with a lot of landlords. We know it's not forever, so we're taking control and building our own private community where we can do posts. We're building basically the best, most up-to-date resource for landlords in Alberta, and that's over at albertalandlordcommunity.ca. And thank you, Kayla, for having us again. We really appreciate it.
No, it's about bringing all of the different types of support that's out there for our members, bringing them valuable content that they can take home and share with their communities that they're a part of, no matter where they are. And just knowing that we do have our collaboration and our partnership with Front Lobby so that landlords can report to Landlord Credit Bureau and Equifax. And Alberta, they have their own discount code of ABLL15, and Ontario Landlords Watch has OLW15. And this is going to be the game changer in order to make sure that we're benefiting good tenants and able to hold the other tenants accountable and protecting the landlord's investments at the same time. I want to make sure that everyone is liking what the content we have. So make sure you give us a comment, give us your feedback. If you have new rules and new regulations or something that we never covered tonight that you're wanting more information on, put it in the comments below. And then for our next video, maybe we're going to head east. Maybe we're going to go a little bit more west. Tune into our next video on the Canadian Real Estate channel so that we can keep you informed and give you the perfect content to help you grow your financial freedom through real estate. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.